Welcome back, guys. Today we're doing something really cool, taking a look at the classic solo from the band Great White, the song Rock Me. This is probably the biggest hit, I would say, from this album, Once Bitten. And it wasn't their first album, but it was probably the breakthrough album. It also had the great ballad Save Your Love on it, and a bunch of other cool stuff. I really loved this album when it came out. Definitely kind of a hard rock, bluesy, bit of Led Zeppelin in there, you know, Free, those kind of bands, 70s hard rock mixed with some of the 80s, you know, the 80s hard rock of the time, but definitely more on the bluesy side of things. And I think that's what separated them, mainly with the vocals, but also with the guitar playing. Mark Kendall, as a guitar player, very good player, very bluesy, not really a shredder in the way, you know, like Joe Satriani or Yngwie Malmsteen was a shredder. More of a, you know, not to cheapen his skills, but more of a meat and potatoes kind of player, and but it fits the song, and that's true with this solo too. So we're going to take a look at the solo for Rock Me in just a second. Before we do, make sure and check down below in the description or on the bottom of the screen here. You'll see a link to my Patreon page, and if you're interested in supporting what I do here and enabling me to make more great 80s hard rock and metal videos, that's a great way to support me over at Patreon. Plus, you get the tab and the guitar profile, plus the backing track for this lesson, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So please join me and a bunch of other great people over at my Patreon. We're also doing a free gift for you guys. It's called 5 Blistering Licks to Light Up Your Fretboard. That's down in the link also. And it's got some cool licks in there in the style of George Lynch and some other great players like Van Halen and Randy Rhoads. So make sure and check that out. Free download. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the lesson. This is in standard tuning. Here's my E. And we're in the key of F sharp here. So the majority of this solo is going to be right around the low F sharp minor box, pentatonic box, and the higher one. So if you don't know those, make sure and get familiar. Box 1 of the pentatonic scale. Let me just go through that real quick. 2-5, this is F sharp minor. 2-5, 2-4 on the A. 2-4 D. 2-4 G. 2-5 on the B. 2-5 on the high E. Just take the whole thing up 1 octave. And there you go. You have the F sharp minor first position in 2 different places. And that's where the solo takes place. So once again, kind of a simple approach. Not a bunch of shredding all over the neck, but it's not needed in this solo. Very kind of a laid back bluesy feel. And so the first lick, here's lick number 1. Okay, let's take the first part of that. That much of it. Mark has kind of a faster vibrato, at least on this particular solo. Kind of like that, instead of like a slow John Sykes. Instead of that, which wouldn't quite fit probably the tempo of this anyways. So I'm going 4 on the D, 2 G, back to 4, back to 2 on the G. And then you're going to bend 4 up twice. And on that second one, you're gonna add the vibrato to it. So this is always good to turn off one's email so we don't hear ding. Now, while you're holding that vibrato there, we're going to reach over and add the pinky to the 5th fret on the B string. And what happens is, while the string is bent on the G string, grab that 5th fret there and then play the G and the B together. Lower the G string, pull off to the 2nd fret, and then the 4th fret on the D. So. Also, for you newer players, make sure that this is your hand position. Thumb over top of the neck. All right, a relaxed kind of a sideways hand position. You don't want this. Now there are a few exceptions, players that play very well that way, but it's not the way I would recommend, and it's very awkward, and you don't get as much leverage and comfort by playing that way where your thumb's behind the neck. So that's with bending and vibrato and things like that, okay? So when we come down, pull off to the 2nd fret from the 4th, and then D, 4D, and then 2nd fret G and B. What you do is you kind of bend this, maybe a quarter step at the most, and then 4th fret D, and then back to this again. But then you cut it off with the palm. I use the palm of my pick hand. Just kind of cut that off. So here's that whole lick. A little slower. Okay, and now we're going to go to the next lick. Very cool lick here. Another little bluesy lick though. Now, what you're doing here is you're kind of raking in. And I'm just going 16, 16A, 16D, 14 on the G. Really what you want to do is just make sure, that you hit 14 on the G and get that bend in there. This is just like a little added ornament. It's like a sweep, but not really, not truly sweep picking, but I'm doing down, down, down. I'm kind of rolling my ring finger here, and I'm using my palm on my picking hand to get a little bit of a mute. So it sounds like slow. Fast it sounds like. You should hear 3 notes in there. Okay, so. Alright, so this lick, after the rake, 14 and then 16, you bend this up with vibrato, whole step, and then this is 17 on the B, bend 16 up a whole step, release it, pull off to 14, 16 on the D, and then 16G, 16D, and you kind of roll your finger there for that so you don't have them ring together. and then 14 with a slight bend, and then 16, 14, 16. Okay, so all right, that's lick number 2. And then for the third lick, so we just did this. Now we're doing these double stops again, just like we were doing down here, but we're on the 14th fret on the G and B, and then 16 on the so twice on this, the slight bend, 16 on the D, and then again on the 14th fret, and then 16, 14 G, and then 17 on the B, bend up a whole step, add vibrato. Okay, so that lick would be, if you put it together with the first part, okay, so that's the next lick is, let's do the bend. So we just did the bend here. Now we're going to bend again on 17, and we're going to launch into this lick. That's the whole lick. So the first is the bend, 17 on B, and then it goes right into, let's do that first. This is a little sequence here, and you're just kind of alternate picking this. It's 14 on the high E, 14 B, 17 B, 16 G, 14 on the B and the G, 16 on the G and D, and then 14 on the G. That's the first part of this. Okay, and now the second part of this lick is, so and that's 16 pull off to 14 on the D, 16 on the D, on the A, then 14, 16 D, 14 on the G, 16 D. So little bend there on 14, right? And then 14 on the D, little bend there too. Lots of little nuancy bends everywhere. So we have the bend. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And then we go into the last part of the solo. Okay, let's do that first. So 17 on the high E, bend it up a whole step, then bring it down and pick it, and then do a hammer and pull, 14, 17, back to 14 on the high E, and then 17 B, 14 high E. So, and then 17 on the B string, and bend that up a whole step. And then we go into this last couple of ideas here. The first one is, this is a very Michael Schenker type of lick here. These are triplets. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So what we're doing is just bending up 17 a whole step, and then playing 14 on the high E, and then bending up 17 a whole step, and then playing 14 on the high E, and we're repeating that several times. It's 11 times, and slow, it just sounds like that. But up to speed is. Okay, so as we're coming out of this, see how that, once you do this lick, then your next move is 14 on the high E. So after you've bent 17 on the B, you launch into that lick, okay? Now for me, it's kind of a feel thing. I don't count when I'm doing this. I don't count like 1, 2, 3. I don't count like how many times I'm playing that. I just kind of feel that, because as long as you have the right rhythm and you're playing these in tempo, you'll feel when it's time to go to the very last lick. Okay, and the last lick, what you've done is just played this last 17 bend on the B string, and the last lick goes. That's it. Okay, kind of a little fast lick at the end here, but right out of this F sharp minor pentatonic blues scale in the octave position. So that's 14 high E, 17, 14 B. And I'm picking all that, and then I'm playing 16 on the G bend up a whole step, and then 14 B. And then what you're going to do is a quick bend, release, pull on 16. So, and then pull off to 14. And then a roll from 16 on the D, 14 G, back to 16 D, 14 G, and then 17 B, bend up a whole step. And that's the end. So, so coming out of this, okay, let me do that again. Let me play it from here. Okay, that to me is the trickiest part of the solo to get right. So if you need to, rewind the video, watch that a few times, try to play along with that. And if you need to count at first how many times you're playing that, that's cool. And then eventually you'll get to the point where you just kind of automatically play it the right amount because you're listening to where it's going. And speaking of that, if you can play along with a backing track to this, it will help you without having the other guitar to compete with. So that's why I've included the backing track here for you to play along with over at Patreon. So make sure to check that out. You also get the tab if you were confused about any of these notes here. If you just like to have the tab and the Guitar Pro for reference, you can have those as well over at Patreon. So I hope you enjoyed this, guys. I love this solo. I love the song, and it's definitely an 80s rock, hard rock classic. I remember seeing this on MTV. Probably not the first Great White I saw. I think the first Great White, my introduction was the song Face Today, which is a cover song, I believe, but great tune. But this one was the one that, this song and this album was the one that really grabbed me. So, and then of course the follow-up, Twice Shy, also was really good too. So, rest in peace, Jack Russell, for sure. great singer and great frontman. And go check out some Great White. Go listen to some of this stuff. It kind of gets lost these days, I think, in a sea of other stuff to listen to. But I think this is some really good stuff. So I'll see you next time. Make sure you go check this out. Rock on.